Tourism in India. The tourism industry of India is economically very important for the nation. The main objective of learning this lesson is to know about the characteristics and impact tourism has on our nation. The following aspects are highlighted in this lesson: Introduction, Development of tourism in India, Role of the government, Impact of tourism in India, Conclusion. Introduction. India, a land of geographical diversity, blessed with a long history of rich civilization and culture. It is a potential tourism paradise with a wide variety of attraction ranging from beautiful beaches, hill stations, scenery, forts, monuments, fairs, festivals, art, crafts, culture, forest, wildlife and religious centers, etc. India has one of the world's richest natural heritage. During the British period, tourism in India becomes more organized. They built duck bungalows on the roadside for the convenience of duck traveller. The finest of India's cuisines is as rich and diverse as its civilization. India is a storehouse of art, paintings, crafts which appeared on pots found in the Indus Valley civilization as early as the 3rd century BC. The cave paintings of Ajanta and Ellora date back to the 1st to 5th century AD. The British set up the Archaeological Survey of India in the 19th century to document the wealth of material available in the country. Tourism has emerged as one of India's important industry. Today, tourism is a major source of foreign exchange earnings and employment. India is a huge market for tourism for outbound and inbound tourists. Development of tourism in India. The first conscious and organized efforts to promote tourism in India were made in 1945 when a committee was set up by the government under the chairmanship of Sir John Sargent. Thereafter, the development of tourism was taken up in a planned manner in 1956, coinciding with the second 5-year plan. The approach has evolved from isolated planning of single unit facilities in the second and third 5-year plan. The 6th plan marked the beginning of a new era when tourism began to be considered a major instrument for social integration and economic development. One committee was appointed in March 1963 under the chairmanship of L.K. Jha. This committee made several recommendations to improve tourist flow in India, especially in regards to facilitation. 3 new corporations were set up in 1965, namely Hotel Corporation, India Tourism and India Tourist Traffic Corporation, but they did not work well and therefore merged to make a single unit as India Tourism Development Corporation on October 1966. ITDC is the main agency of the Ministry of Tourism and Civil Aviation which promoted tourism in India. Regional offices are located in all capital cities in India. Tourist destinations in the country are improved and provided more facilities to attract the foreign tourists. India's glorious tradition and rich cultural heritage are closely related with the development of tourism. Its magnificent monuments attract a large number of tourists from all over the world. The natural surroundings, the architectural masterpieces, the music, dance, paintings, customs and languages, all these go to make India as tourists' paradise. The main elements of culture which attract tourists to a particular destination fall under following categories: pleasure climate, scenic attraction, historical and cultural attraction, accessibility, shopping, adventure, variety of cuisines, accommodation, relaxation and recreation, healthcare projects. Therefore, it has been rightly said that the core concept of tourism revolves around 4 A's: attraction, accessibility, amenities, ancillary services. The temple trails in India like Gurudwara in Amritsar, Tirupati Balaji, Mathura, Ayodhya, Badrinath, Haridwar and Rishikesh. The hill stations like Simla, Kulu Manali and Mussoorie in the north, Shillong and Darjeeling in the east, Ooty, Kodaikanal and Munnar in the south, Mahabaleshwar, Matharan, Chikladar and Amboli in the central. All these tourist places are most popular, and its unique cultural mystique, exotic heritage, aesthetic environment and outstanding natural resources have attracted the international tourists. Tourism definition and meaning. There has been a number of attempts to define tourism since the beginning of the 12th century. It is defined in a different manner by different people, and the most widely accepted definition is the one given by World Travel Organization. As per the World Travel Organization, tourism comprises the activities of persons traveling to and staying in places outside their usual environment for not more than one consecutive year for leisure, business and other purposes. As per WTO definition, tourism can be classified into the following forms: inbound tourism, visits to a country by non-resident of that country. For example, when an American citizen, Mr. Sam, comes to India to see the Taj Mahal, he is an inbound tourist for India. Outbound tourism, visits by the residents of a country to another country. For example, when an Indian citizen, Mr. Ram, goes to America to see Hollywood, he is an outbound tourist for India. Domestic tourism, it involves travelling by the residents of the given country within their own country. For example, when Mr. Anil, a resident of Delhi, goes to see the Taj Mahal in Agra, he is a domestic Indian tourist. Internal tourism, it comprises of domestic tourism and inbound tourism. International tourism, it comprises of inbound tourism and outbound tourism. In Sanskrit literature, the three famous words Atiti Devo Bhava means the guest is truly God and are a dictum of hospitality in India. In simple terms, tourism is the act of travel for the purposes of leisure, pleasure or business and the provision of services for this act. 5 main characteristics of tourism may be identified from the definition. Tourism arises from a movement of people to and their stay in various destinations. There are 2 elements in all tourism: the journey to the destination and the stay, including activities at the destination. The journey and the stay take place outside the usual place of residence and work, so that tourism gives rise to activities which are distinct from those of the resident and the working population of the places through which the tourist travels and in which they stay. The movement to destinations is of temporary, short-term character with the intention of returning to the usual environment within a few days, weeks or months. Destinations are visited for purposes other than taking up permanent residence or employment remunerated from within the places visited. There are 2 important components that make up tourism: the practice of travelling for pleasure, the business of providing tours and services for persons travelling. There are 4 basic services to be provided for tourists: travel arrangement, boarding and lodging, food and entertainment. Present situation and features of tourism in India. According to World Travel and Tourism Council, India will be a tourism hotspot from 2009 to 2018, having the highest 10-year growth potential. As per the Travel and Tourism Competitiveness Report 2009 by the World Economic Forum, India is ranked 11th in the Asia Pacific region and 62nd overall, moving up 3 places on the list of the world's attractive destinations. It is ranked the 14th best tourist destination for its natural resources and 24th for its cultural resources, with many World Heritage sites, both natural and cultural, rich fauna and strong creative industries in the country. India has bagged 37th rank for its air transport network. The India travel and tourism industry ranked 5th in the long-term growth and is expected to be the second largest employer in the world by 2019. Tourist attractions in India. India is a country known for its lavish treatment to all visitors, no matter where they come from. Its visitor-friendly traditions, varied lifestyles and cultural heritage and colorful fairs and festivals held abiding attractions for the tourists. The other attractions include beautiful beaches, forests and wildlife and landscapes for ecotourism, snow, river and mountain peaks for adventure tourism, technological parks and science museums for science tourism, centers of pilgrimage for spiritual tourism, heritage trains and hotels for heritage tourism, yoga, Ayurveda and natural health resorts and hill stations also attract tourists. The Indian handicrafts, particularly jewellery, carpets, leather goods, ivory and brasswork, are the main shopping items of foreign tourists. It is estimated through survey that nearly 40% of the tourist expenditure on shopping is spent on such items. Despite the economic slowdown, medical tourism in India is the fastest growing segment of tourism industry according to the market research report, Booming Medical Tourism in India. The report adds that India offers a great potential in the medical tourism industry. Factors such as low cost, scale and range of treatments provided in the country add to its attractiveness as a medical tourism destination. Future prospects. According to the latest tourism satellite accounting research released by the World Travel and Tourism Council and its strategic partner Oxford Economics in March 2009, the demand for travel and tourism in India is expected to grow by 8.2% between 2010 and 2019 and will place India at the 3rd position in the world. India's travel and tourism sector is expected to be the 2nd largest employer in the world, employing 4,37,000 by 2019. Capital investment in India's travel and tourism sector is expected to grow at 8.8% between 2010 and 2019. The report forecasts India to get capital investments worth $95.5 billion in the travel and tourism sector in 2019. India is projected to become the 5th fastest growing business travel destination from 2010 to 2019 with an estimated real growth rate of 7.6%. Constraints. The major constraint in the development of tourism in India is the non-availability of adequate infrastructure, including adequate air seat capacity, accessibility to tourist destination, accommodation and trained manpower in sufficient number, poor visitor experience, particularly due to inadequate infrastructural facilities, poor hygienic conditions and incidents of touting and harassment of tourists in some places are factors that contribute to poor visitor experience. Tourism policy of India. Tourism emerged as the largest global industry of the 20th century and is projected to grow even faster in the 21st century. India has immense possibilities of growth in the tourism sector with vast cultural and religious heritage, varied natural attractions, but comparatively small role in the world tourism scenario. following measures were suggested by the tourism policy to take full advantage of the national heritage for attracting tourists, to increase tourist resorts, the status of an export industry to tourism, to adopt the approach to develop few tourist circuits, to invite private sector. In the National Action Plan for Tourism, 7 objectives are given. They are as follows: socio-economic development of region, increasing employment opportunities, development of domestic tourism, preserving national heritage and environment, development of international tourism, diversification of the tourism products, increase in India's share in world tourism. The new tourism policy is announced in 2002, which incorporates the 7S mantra of Swagat, Suchana, Suvidha, Suraksha, Sahayog, Saurachana, Safai. Niche tourism products. The Ministry of Tourism has also taken the initiative of identifying, diversifying, developing and promoting the nascent or upcoming niche products of the tourism industry. This is done in order to overcome the aspect of seasonality to promote India as a 365 days destination, attract tourists with specific interests and to ensure repeat visits for the products in which India has comparative advantage. Accordingly, the following niche products have been identified by the Ministry of Tourism for development and promotion. Cruise tourism. Cruise shipping is one of the most dynamic and fastest growing components of the leisure industry worldwide. Adventure tourism. Adventure tourism involves travel to remote, exotic areas for exploration as for undertaking activities which test the endurance of both person and his equipment. Adventure tourism is rapidly growing in popularity as tourists seek different kinds of vacations. Medical tourism. Medical tourism is a term used to describe the rapidly growing practice of traveling across international borders to obtain health care. Wellness tourism. Wellness tourism is about traveling for the primary purpose of achieving, promoting or maintaining maximum health and a sense of well-being. Golf tourism. Sport tourism in India is gaining interest. One of the largest trends in golf tourism is the fact that there has been a recent surge in the interest levels amongst youth the world over. Polo tourism. India has rich historical ties with many of the sporting traditions including polo. The game of polo originated in India, and India is one of the few countries in the world where this game is still preserved and practiced. Ecotourism. Ecotourism means making as little environmental impact as possible and helping to sustain the indigenous populace, thereby encouraging the preservation of wildlife and habitats when visiting a place. Film tourism. The Ministry of Tourism has recognized films as powerful tool for the development and promotion of destinations under niche tourism product. Tiger tourism. As per the Supreme Court directions, the Ministry of Environment and Forests has issued guidelines for tourism activities in tiger reserves in the country. Rural tourism. Rural tourism is essentially an activity which takes place in the countryside. It is multifaceted and may include farm or agricultural tourism, cultural tourism, nature tourism, adventure tourism and ecotourism. As against conventional tourism, rural tourism has certain typical characteristics. It is experience oriented, the locations are less populated, it is predominantly in natural environments and it is based on the preservation of culture, heritage and traditions. Agricultural tourism. Agri-tourism is considered as the fastest growing sector in the tourism industry. The concept has been successfully implemented in states like Maharashtra, Kerala, Rajasthan, Jharkhand, Gujarat and Himachal Pradesh. it has become a new avenue for earning the income for the rural farmers. Role of the government. The role of the government in tourism development has been redefined from that of a regulator to that of a catalyst. Apart from marketing and promotion, the focus of tourism development plans is now on integrated development of enabling infrastructure through effective partnership with various stakeholders. Tourism development in India has passed through many phases. Initiatives by the government for India to promote tourism. Hunar Se Rozgar program. A special initiative was launched in 2009 and 10 for the creation of employable skills among youth belonging to economically weaker sections of the society in the age group of 18 to 25 with the basic objective to reduce the skill gap affecting the hospitality and tourism sector and to ensure the spread of economic benefits of tourism to the poor. The program offers short duration courses of 6 to 8 weeks which are fully funded by the Ministry of Tourism. Visa on arrival. Considering the importance of visa facilities in enhancing tourist inflow, the facility of long-term tourist visa of 5 years duration with multiple entry carrying a stipulation of 90 days for each visit has been introduced on a pilot basis for the nationals of the 18 selected countries. The findings of an evaluation study conducted by the ministry have reinforced the belief that the presence of the facility of visa on arrival significantly influences the tourist travel plans to any country. Publicity and marketing strategy. As part of its domestic and global publicity and marketing strategy to promote the tourism and create social awareness through print and electronic media, the Ministry of Tourism launched campaigns on Clean India, Atithi Devo Bhava and Hunar Se Rozgar through radio channels. Campaigns highlighting the tourism potential at Northeast and Jammu and Kashmir were also carried out through Doordarshan. Campaigns were also taken up for Incredible India branding on TV during the International Film Festival of India held in Goa and during the International Indian Film Academy Awards 2012 in Singapore. The ministry has participated in major international travel fairs and exhibitions in important tourist generating markets the world over as well as in emerging and potential markets to showcase and promote the tourism products of the country. National Strategy for the Development of Tourism. A national strategy for the development of tourism has recently been developed for synergizing the activities of different infrastructure sectors, the state governments and the private sector for tourism development. The specific components of the strategy include infrastructure development, product development and diversification, including development of mega tourism resorts, entrepreneurial development and promotion of self-employment opportunities, enhanced tourist facilitation, human resources development, research and computerization, promotion and marketing, environmental protection and cultural preservation, provision of incentives and monitoring and evaluation and strengthening of organizations. Impact of tourism in India. Tourism industry in India has several positive and negative impacts on the economy and society. Positive impacts. Generating income and employment. Tourism in India has emerged as an instrument of income and employment generation, poverty alleviation and sustainable human development. It contributes 6.23% to the national GDP and 8.78% of the total employment in India. Almost 20 million people are now working in the India's tourism industry. Source of foreign exchange. Tourism is an important source of foreign exchange earnings in India. Preservation of national heritage and environment. Tourism helps to preserve several places which are of historical importance by declaring them as heritage sites. For instance, the Taj Mahal, the Qutub Minar, Ajanta and Ellora temples, etc. Developing infrastructure. Tourism tends to encourage the development of multiple use infrastructures that benefits the host community, including various means of transports, healthcare facilities and sports centers, in addition to the hotels and high-end restaurants that cater to foreign tourists. Promoting peace and stability. Honey and Gilpin suggest that the tourism industry can also help promote peace and stability in developing country like India by providing jobs, generating income, diversifying the economy, protecting the environment and promoting cross-cultural awareness. Negative impacts. Undesirable social and cultural change. Tourism sometimes lead to the destruction of the social fabric of a community. The more tourists coming into a place, the more the perceived risk of that place losing its identity. Increased tension and hostility. Tourism can increase tension, hostility and suspicion between the tourists and the local communities when there is no respect and understanding for each other's culture and way of life. Adverse effects on environment and ecology. One of the most important adverse effects of tourism on the environment is increased pressure on the carrying capacity of the ecosystem in each tourist locality. Increased transport and construction activities led to large-scale deforestation and destabilization of natural landforms, while increased tourist flow leads to increase in solid waste dumping as well as depletion of water and fuel resources. Flow of tourists to ecologically sensitive areas resulted in destruction of rare and endangered species due to trampling, killing, disturbance of breeding habitats. Noise pollution from vehicles and public address systems, water pollution, vehicular emissions, untreated sewage, etc. also have direct effects on biodiversity, ambient environment and general profile of tourist spots. Conclusion. To sum up, Indian tourism has vast potential for generating employment and earning large sums of foreign exchange besides economic and social development. Since tourism is a multidimensional activity and basically a service industry, it would be necessary that all wings of the central and state governments, private sector and voluntary organizations become active partners in the endeavor to attain sustainable growth in tourism. If India is to become a world player in the tourist industry, ecotourism needs to be promoted so that tourism in India helps in preserving and sustaining the diversity of the India's natural and cultural environments. Tourism in India should be developed in such a way that it accommodates and entertains visitors in a way that it is minimally intrusive or destructive to the environment. Thank you.